If you're experiencing pain or tightness in your piriformis, which is a muscle in the back part of the pelvis, which is an external rotator, or you're experiencing sciatica, which is that shooting pain anywhere from the low back, down the backside of the pelvis and the glute, all the way down into the foot, or you have immobility in the hips, I'm gonna explain to you why this is actually happening from the root cause, from that perspective, because you've probably tried stretching, maybe even nerve flossing, and that can give you temporary relief, and it can actually provide a window of opportunity to start re-educating the body. But I'm going to explain this into more detail, how to actually address the root cause so that you're just not going to continually have to find these quick fixes and approaches to just get out of that pain temporarily. Now, I want you to understand this from a postural perspective. We are essentially just trying to organize ourselves against gravity. That's posture. So we might have to shift and compensate. But thinking more on the sagittal plane, which is more front to back, if we are too far forwards in space, which we generally are because we walk and we move forwards, then the pelvis can move forward slightly, but the whole pelvis in and of itself can actually shift forwards like this. This is crucial to understand because look, even from what I'm doing in the backside of my pelvis, if I am bringing my pelvis forwards, am I opening up or closing off the backside of my pelvis? I'm closing it off. I'm creating more tension back here. When we create too much tension in the backside of the pelvis and we can't shift out of that, then we're gonna have chronic tension here. And that's gonna lead to obviously chronic tension of the piriformis, of the fascia, the connective tissue, and that can apply pressure onto the nerve, leading to pain. Now, our fascia is our connective tissue, and when it becomes dehydrated because it's stuck and it's not moving properly, that can lead to fascial adhesions, which can also contribute to the nerve getting pinched, but also to prevent you from actually moving out of that space. So really, we are stuck in this externally rotated position of our pelvis, but also our femur. We're closing this space off like this. I'm exaggerating it, but I really want you to get that visualization of what's happening. So what do we have to do? Quite the inverse of this. We need to create more internal rotation and open up the pelvis, the bottom part of the pelvis here, and create more hip and femur internal rotation. So step one is we just want to be able to decompress this area, and then we can start educating the body on how to move into that space that we've created and to create some strength associated to this, so we're not just stuck in a certain posture for a majority of the day. For this first step, we're going to decompress a lot of the fascia and the muscles in the back part of the pelvis, working on one side at a time. So I am going to be instructing you to bring the hip into more flexion, which is going to help further open up the space as we are working in this area. So all you'll need is a tightly rolled up towel like this, or a block from Block Therapy. So I'm going to be using my block. You can use whichever tool you have available. Now, nice and slow, let's lay on our back. Let's exhale, let's bring the pelvis up, and let's position the block or the towel right on the glute. So we're working on just one side of the glute. And I'm gonna feel this little bony area here. I have the block just above, so it's approximately in the middle of the glute. Don't have it too low, don't have it too high. Once we are here, I'm gonna keep the opposite leg bent, and I'm gonna straighten the leg that we're working on. Make sure that your rib cage is in a neutral alignment here. And the first thing we wanna do is connect to our breath. Try to exhale 6 counts, inhale a 4 counts, in and out through the nose. This is gonna trigger more of a parasympathetic response so that we're more relaxed, so that the fascia isn't just going to go into this protective mode. We want the fascia to put its guard down so that we can start to rehydrate this dehydrated fascia. Once you spent about a minute or so just settling in, you might start feeling sensations like discomfort, maybe some pain. That's all normal. If it's too intense at any moment in time, ease off and reconnect at a less intensity. Once you've settled in, very slow, we're going to start to bend the hip and the knee at the same time. Now, I said slow for a reason. We don't want to be rushing this or else the fascia might go back into the protective mode. We want to move very slow while using our breath, never holding the breath. You're going to find areas of more pain or more discomfort or more tension along the line that we're working here. So at any point you want to stop and hang out there, that's absolutely encouraged. And then you can eventually bring yourself into more hip flexion. But don't rush this process. If you can only get an inch or two off of the floor, that's totally fine. Spend a minimum of 3 to 5 minutes here. And then when you're ready, you're gonna exhale up and off. If you need to, you can do this on the other side as well. If it's more so just one side that you're wanting to focus on, then of course you can just focus on that side. This next step, we're going to teach our hips and our pelvis how to open up with intentional movement. There's different variations I'm going to show you, from the easiest version to more of an advanced version, dependent on where you are in your journey here. This is so critical because I'm showing you a different variation of a hinge. Now, many times when muscles are tight or fascia is too compressed, it's from a lack of movement or there's too much weakness. So what we're doing here is very special. We are opening up the backside of the pelvis here, but also creating engagement to then close it off. And we're doing this healthy, intentional movements, which is essential for the biomechanics of our body. All you're gonna need is a chair here, a wall, just something to hold on to essentially. And I want you to first just feel this standing posture. I want you to feel the inner heel, ball of the big toe, and the outside portion of your foot here, the 5th metatarsal head. So we're not collapsing in or we're not having too much weight out. We want to feel all of those contacts. Have a slight bend in your knees, and now bring awareness to your pelvis. Bring it forwards, bring it backwards into a posterior pelvic tilt, then find that neutral positioning. Then bring the ribs into that neutral alignment. This is going to be our starting point. This is very important because if we fall out, we're going to compensate. So we need to be very specific, especially initially as we pick something up off of the ground or practice a hinge. I also want you to be aware that I'm not just trying to stretch my hamstrings here. I'm not just trying to touch my toes. That's creating a lot of spinal flexion. We're trying to use the hips here to hinge and to move properly. This is one of the best, most effective exercises with these different progressions. So we're in that neutral posture that I talked about. Now our next cue is maintaining the slight bend in the knees. Do not straighten them at any point throughout this exercise. We're bringing the hips back. You might only be able to bring them back 5-10 degrees or so. That's fine. And you might need to hold on to something, but I want you to find that healthy, natural end range where you don't feel any pain, but you're feeling the glutes starting to open up and engage at the same time. Maintaining the foot contacts, we're just gonna stay at that end range. You might be able to get a little bit further. If you are getting further, make sure it's the hips literally moving backwards like this. We're not rounding the spine. I want you to create that neutral alignment. And we're gonna hold that natural end range for yourself for about 5 to 10 breaths. If you can only hold this for a few, that's okay, because a lot of us have weakness in this area. The foot to glute connection is not really solid. It's not quite there. Once you spent 3, 5, 8 breaths here, very slow to come up. We're maintaining the slight bend in the knees, and then we are bringing the hip forwards like this, but I'm pushing through the floor. Feel I'm pushing into the floor with those foot contacts to bring my pelvis forwards and still maintaining the slight bend in the knee. Now to progress this, you can do single leg, or you can just get lower. And I'm not wanting you to rush through this. This isn't a drill that we're just trying to progress as fast as we can. Single leg like this, bring all of your weight to that one side. You're in a kickstand. So this back leg here could come off of the floor. We're just using it for balance. Maintain the slight bend in the knee. It's all of the exact same cueing, but on a single leg. Now I'm just bringing the hip back like this. Whoa, I'm starting to feel that really open up. Find that end range even just before the end range. Don't push it too much. And we're gonna hold this for, again, 3 breaths, 5 breaths if you can. Breathing in and out through the nose in a controlled way. If you're in a panic mode and you're not breathing through your diaphragm and your rib cage, then we're not teaching the body something new. We want to rewire this whole system on how to hinge and open up the space. To come back up, maintaining that slight bend in the knee, and I am pushing through the floor with my feet to very slowly bring my pelvis back to neutral. So you can perform a few reps of this. You can hold it for 3 breaths, 5 breaths, 8 breaths. You're in control. The point here is that we're trying to teach our body something new, and to do that, isometrics are massive. They're so important, and then very slow intentional movement. Over time, that can speed up, but that's not the goal for now. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you start with opening up the back part of the pelvis with the fascia decompression approach I showed first, and then you can move on to hinging. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll see you in the next video.